To start off this time, I'm gonna set up a little friend for myself. I've got this bucket of pufferfish, or sorry, pufferfish bucket. They were added in this snapshot. 18W08B added the fish mobs to the world, which you can now catch in a bucket. And in this snapshot, they have a lot more health than they regularly would. So they have 10 hearts or 20 health instead of the regular 3 health that they have in future versions. And so I'm just gonna make a little setup that will allow me to put them in a boat, because that's a secondary thing that becomes discontinued, is the ability to put mobs in a boat. So that's what I'm setting up here, is just a little chamber for them to chill in. The soul sand is not creating a bubble column. Does it have to be taller? The image that I'm looking at that's showing me how this is done just has it in one block of water. I don't know if getting the rest of the setup in beforehand matters, maybe. So I'll try doing that. Yeah, there does not seem to be any bubble columns coming out of this soul sand. I'm not sure. There are a couple snapshots moving forward that I can try to see if this will work as a bubble column in the future, because I'm pretty sure this would work in current versions. It's just soul sand below a water source block. I don't know that there are any more requirements than that. Well, I have the extra health pufferfish, and that's not gonna change, I guess. His date is already in the bucket, he's already got his health, so I can just hold on to him and move on and see if this will work in another snapshot. I don't know what just happened, but there's a bubble column now. I don't know if the water needed a block update. I did move on to the next snapshot, but yeah, I don't know what's up with this. It seems to be working on too deep water, huh? Where did it go? Huh? I'm very confused as to what is happening with this. Jesus Christ. Alright, buddy. Okay. So now both of those are working. And now this one also isn't, but the two on the diagonals are. This is very confusing. I guess as long as it works. I'm gonna that's supposed to not happen. What is the purpose of the top water blocks? Like, will it die if I don't have those blocks? Are they necessary? I kind of feel like I want to try just blocking that off. Oh, that was almost disastrous. Did it work though? No, he's very much dead. I feel like he shouldn't have died that fast if he had extra health. Let me reload a backup to see. So I'm assuming that the purpose of this top bit of water is to be where you spawn the guy, so that what happens last time doesn't happen. But the boat just likes to jump up there, so I don't know, I guess I'm gonna do that and then quickly cover it up. And now the boat is no longer in the water. Okay. Does that work? No, he's dying. that did not work. Okay. What if I try again, but with a simpler approach? So what I'm thinking is that this whole, bubble column thing is overcomplicating stuff. I feel like if I can just have the boat be just like sunk down in there, then, it's underwater, and then the fish can be in the boat while the boat is underwater. So can I sink this boat by doing something like that? Yeah. And then I put you in there. Can you go into the boat? Would they not go into the boat if it's sunk? So do I have to get him into the boat and then sink it? If I do something like that. No, he can swim out of the boat. In that case, I am not sure how to pull this off. I mean, I can try the bubble column thing one more time. Keep it as close to the source material as possible. It's up there, and it's dying. I don't think I can preserve him in the boat. That's the conclusion that I'm coming to from this whole ordeal. Because he just seems to die, regardless of what I do. Alright, okay. One more time. And I guess this time I'll just put him in a little water tank. Because I can't get him to stay alive in the boat. That'll do. It's just a basic little pond for him, but I can pretty it up later. Your name is Stew. I was gonna have a second fish, name them Stew and Soup, but pufferfish aren't really social creatures, and I wasn't really expecting to find a pufferfish. I thought I would just get like a cod or salmon, but Stew's fine. He can chill. Okay, I'm over here at the turtle area where I better pull the turtles, the new chunks. There's a really big ocean around here. I need to get a trident. This is 18W11A, which added the ability for Drowned to hold tridents so that you can get tridents in survival. And on this snapshot, you can get tridents with incompatible enchantments. So that means that I need to go out and find myself a trident. So now that I have my trident that I put in my ender chest right here, I went ahead and made an automatic fishing farm, one of the old designs from pre 1.16 when you could get treasure loot just from a one block of fishing. And so I've used that to get the trident enchantments that I needed, because I have some bad news regarding the spawn eggs. So during one of the snapshots, around the time where I moved the empty eggs over to unloaded chunks, there was a snapshot that I loaded in which any spawn eggs that would be loaded would get just removed. And so the consequence of that is that my spawn eggs are gone, the spawn eggs over at the villager area are gone, the villager eggs over at the reversion shack are also gone because I loaded that area as well. The only spawn eggs that will not be gone at this point are the empty spawn eggs, which I intentionally unloaded, because the way that the discontinued features wiki wrote about the spawn eggs led me to believe that only the empty spawn eggs would be deleted when I loaded the snapshot that caused all of the eggs to be gone. Now, this isn't, like, detrimental or anything. It just means that going forward, getting more villagers is going to be a bit of a slower process, since I'm actually going to have to set up a breeder of some kind. And for future mob farms, I'll have to just, figure out general designs. Yeah, I'll just have to figure out general mob farm designs. I know that there are, like, rivers around this area, river biome. That's Stu over here is in a river biome, so sometimes I'll come over here and he'll have, like, squids and friends that have spawned in here, so I can make a drowned farm here if I need to in the future. There's obviously a bunch of space around for me to be able to make stuff with high spawn rates, because I can just dig away the bits of the islands, or go out to somewhere where there are no islands. So the consequence of not having the spawn eggs is not too great. It just means that I can't make spawner based farms, which, in all fairness, it's not going to be incredibly necessary. The things that I maybe would have wanted to do so was for, like, an overworld blaze spawner farm to use as, like, a renewable food source or something, but nothing's going to stop me from setting up, like, a lava farm at some point, which should do the same job about equally as well, or like a kelp farm or something, bamboo farm. I can set any number of those up in the future. Yeah, anyway, back to the trident. I do want to get a second trident. This guy dropped from a drowned that was not holding a trident, and also this trident has full durability. Both of those things are unusual. Both of them, I'm assuming, are jank related to the fact that this is the first snapshot where you can get tridents. But I'm not going to complain about it. I'm just going to take it. I'm going to go and get a second one, and I'll be back after I've done that. I was not recording video when I did this next part, but I have the second trident, and what I wanted to do with that was get it a level 5 enchant. So it's got Impaling 5 on it. I did that with a book, extra book that I had from the fishing farm, put it in the enchanted table, put them together, Impaling 5. And the first trident that I had, I put all the books on it, so now it has all of the enchantments that aren't really supposed to be together. Riptide, Loyalty, Channeling, Impaling, they're all together, and I believe in this snapshot they are all functional. So it will shoot me up, and also shoot the trident. I don't know where that went. That might be gone. Yeah, that's gone. I'm gonna have to load a backup. I guess showing that off over here was a bit more dangerous than maybe I thought, but yeah, yeah, it's fine. I'll load my backup and then move on to the next snapshot, because those tridents, interesting. I guess the game decided that I would be loading my backup because it just crashed on me. Okay. Yeah, I'll see you in the next snapshot. I've had some weird issues when trying to upgrade to this next snapshot. This is 18W21A. It's something has changed with, like, the way that the game handles worlds in these snapshots. I think it's like the world took quite a while to load, like, initially, and also it reset my inventory to, like, and also my placement to like some kind of last, like, previous save that it did, because this is not where I actually left off the world. I had put my stuff away in this chest. This is my equipment that I had on me, and then when I came back into the world after having put that there and upgrading, I had my stuff back on me, and the stuff that I had been meaning to take with me had been gone, so what I had to do was load a slightly earlier backup, and then go and put the stuff that I need to, mess with into the nether, so that it would actually save the, like, dimension. I guess when I go out through the portal it saves the stuff that's in here, but it didn't properly save the stuff in the overworld when I left it and changed to a newer version. So now I'm out here and I have this chest over here that should have the stuff in it that I have prepared. Yes, all of the level 5 enchantment equipment that now needs to be given the enchant tag just by, messing around with it in an anvil. So I'm just gonna, like, I don't know, do a little something on all of these things. Maybe just get rid of a letter of their name. Put these things into this chest. Oh yeah, I also have to do it with the farmland. Oh, there goes the anvil. Okay, perfect. And now that these are all here, this snapshot is essentially just like an accessory snapshot to the next. So I need to apply this data tag, the enchantment tag, to these items, and then that'll make something happen in the next snapshot, which I will show you right now. I lost the audio recording for this bit, so I'm gonna dub this over in post. What's happened here is that all of the enchantments have become protection because of a bug in this version that causes anything with the enchant tag to turn into protection, because they changed the way that enchantments are read or registered or something like that, and there's, some kind of issue that causes all enchantments to fall back onto protection, which is what it defaults to if it doesn't know what to do. So by having Bane of Arthropods 5 on all of these pieces of equipment, it turns into Protection 5, which usually you can't get. And that allows you to get the actual max efficacy out of Protection. It will allow you to reduce damage by up to 80%, but because you can usually only get Protection 4, then that limits you usually to 80% minus 16, which is 64%. With this, 4 pieces, 20% reduction each, because it's 4% per level, allows you to get the max level protection efficacy. Even if you were to have a higher level of protection, it wouldn't do anything more. So, like, even if you had the multi-shot 12 from the April Fool's snapshot, and then you were to bring it here, turn it into protection 12, that wouldn't actually do anything more. It would just, be something to show off, which, as I said, I'm not doing April Fool's snapshot stuff, so I'm not going to mess with that. But yeah, okay, I have advanced now up to 1.14. This is the very first 1.14 snapshot. I believe I have 2 things to do here. The first of which is getting negative durability shears, and the way that you do that is by putting it in a dispenser and using it to shear the sheep, because that does not check the durability of the shears, it simply subtracts it by 1 in this snapshot. And so by sitting here and letting this sheep eat the grass and then shearing it, you can get negative durability shears, which is what I'm doing with my Silk Touch shears here. So I'll let that tick down a little to maybe, I don't know, like -10 or something, and then I'll just move on to the next thing, because this isn't something major, it's just, a little visual thing to show off. And it doesn't matter if it's, -1 or -1 million, it's still a negative number, so it's all the same to me. Okay. -6, that's enough for me. I'm just gonna leave this guy here and go back to my portal, which should take me back home. And then I can move on to the next thing, which involves Wither Roses, which were added in this snapshot. Since they can be placed on things that they later couldn't, I believe later they're restricted to a lot of the normal flower block placements, like, grass and its variants, and then, like, soul sand as well. But in this snapshot, and a couple of other 1.14 development snapshots, you're able to place them on, I think, pretty much any block. And I was considering setting up a Wither Rose farm for this, but I'm only gonna need a couple, so I should be fine to just, like, make a chicken hole somewhere, and then spawn a wither, and then take care of it. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. So at some point while I was preparing to fight the wither, I realized that there was something that I forgot to enchant with the protection thing, and that was a set of elytra. So I had to do some weird stuff, down patching, in order to get this on this, because even though I'm only a few snapshots ahead, like, one or two releases of 1.13 or whatever, um, it's been quite a task to get backpatching to work without causing consequences. So initially, when I tried to go back to 18W21A, the world would just crash a couple of seconds, like after loading, after trying to interact with things. So what I had to end up doing was backporting the world to release 1.13.1, and then I had to bring it back to 18W20A, and then I would bring it forward to 18W21A to give stuff the enchant tag to then bring to 20W22A. But I had to do it in the end dimension because it wasn't working in the nether for some reason, and I didn't want the overworld loaded while I was trying to do that. Unfortunately, there has somehow been a consequence of that, in that I have a chunk corruption now over here. And when I first saw this as I came back, I was very concerned because, more importantly than Stu, who is unfortunately been a consequence of this, Stu lasted a whole couple of minutes of this episode, I think. He was like something that I tried probably for too long to try and get in that boat, and now he's just gone anyway because this entire chunk is here. I thought that my villagers might have been harmed, but luckily there's a chunk boundary right next to where my first villager is. This is my respiration guy, and you can see it lines up with the guy on this side who sells infinity. But this chunk, for some reason, has just been entirely, like, reverted and regenerated to, I guess, how it would have been if the world generated, like, in whatever 1.13 version, whenever I reverted it. And it's interesting, I guess. It's, rip to stew, but I can't say this isn't, something that is cool, I guess. There is bedrock generated down here now, so I would have a tough time if I wanted to deconstruct this whole thing and get it out of the way, so I'll probably just leave it. I did have an instance before where I was rummaging around versions off camera, and I had a chunk corruption happen right here, like where my spawners are, but that didn't end up staying because, I don't know, whatever I was messing around with wasn't worth the hassle of having these things be gone. But, Stu wasn't fated for captivity anyway. He deserved better. He would have gotten better if he'd have lived long enough, but, I guess he didn't want to stay in that little glass cage for too long, so yeah, it's a shame. Anyway, I now have a bunch of eggs. I set up a chicken hole over here. They're all crammed in there, and I now have a lot of eggs. What I'm probably going to do is go to the exit portal in the end, spawn the wither there, and have him blow up a bunch of chickens, and then I'll just get the wither roses that way. I guess at this point it's quite abundantly obvious that I'm not being overly prudent with the kinds of discontinued things that, I prioritize, I keep around. Things come, things go, some due to fault of my own, some due to lack of knowledge, some as a consequence of just the game, continuing to develop and removing things and changing things. So, when it comes to stuff like this, where, a feature is gone because I've had to downpatch because of something that I've missed, in my eyes, that's not a case of I have to keep trying this until, I can get both things to stick through. It's rather a case of I just gotta choose which thing I'd rather have. Would I rather have the pufferfish with 20 HP, which I can never actually see that it has 20 HP unless I hit it a bunch? Or would I rather have Elytra with protection, which I can use in the future, which will actually have its protection effect on it? And in my eyes, the elytra is more cool to have because it's actually outright observable rather than the pufferfish, which will have, you know, niche observability, niche ability to, like, you know, be useful or anything, or be useful at all, because it's a pufferfish. So, when cases like this happen, I just have to, you know, deal with it. I could be overly, like, I have to get everything and I have to keep everything, but even if I could just, like, show something off, and I didn't even show off that the pufferfish had too much health, other than, I guess, if there was a clip where I showed it, like, drowning, and it took more than 3 ticks of damage. But, you know, I ain't, I ain't that kind of guy. So, typically, even if I can just show something off, that'll be enough for me to be like, alright, cool, time to move on. Because I would like this world to get up to the most recent release at some point, and I feel like if I get hung up over doing absolutely everything, then I'm gonna be stuck in so many versions for so much longer that I just don't really care to be. At the end of the day, I just want to have a cool world and show off cool things. And, you know, whatever form that takes, I'm fine with. And now I need to throw, like, 1,000 eggs in here. I don't know if I need to wait for these guys to grow up before they'll drop wither roses, but I probably will. Anyway. I think one of them just escaped when I put down my ender chest. I guess there is an ender chicken now. So now I wait for those guys to grow up while I edit this bit of the video. Okay, let's give this a go. What did I get? Ah! Aha! There we go. There we go. Okay. Oh, there's another one over there. Nice. So, presently, I'm just able to put these, like, anywhere, pretty much. And I don't know exactly what kind of blocks I want to put these on. I might just do, like, I don't know, 2 of them, maybe. One on each side of the walkway. I guess I could put one of them just on, like, the double stone slab, but... Can I put it on, like, chorus flower? Or is that not gonna work because chorus flower grows? No, and also I guess it's not, like, a placeable block to begin with. Okay. Could I do something like a hopper? Do you think that might work? Yeah. Which makes no sense at all. Would it work on an anvil? Does not work on an anvil. Interesting. Okay. That works for me. I guess I can replace the half bed and end portal frame since they're no longer around. Put that on there. Yep. There we go. I guess I can leave that upper slab because that's... Yeah, never mind. Forget that I said anything. I said nothing. Is that all I need? Let me check. With a rose on odd block. Yes. That is it. From this snapshot. This is 19W02A, which is a snapshot that I remember. This is one that allows you to get quote-unquote god armor, because in this snapshot, the types of protection that you can get on armor are not mutually exclusive. As you can see right there. Now the only thing I need this enchantment table for is Unbreaking, because I still don't have an Unbreaking villager. So I'm just gonna get Unbreaking on these, and then apply the rest of the stuff via books. What? How are they gonna give me Unbreaking 1 from a level 30 enchant? That ain't right. Now I might end up using an enchantment calculator just to make sure I can get all of these books on all of these armor pieces, because I do not know optimal enchanting, so I don't want this stuff to get too expensive before I can get all of the things on it. Wow, they all look different. That's so weird. They look different, but like, this is in like the intermediary time where they've got the updated textures, but they still have the old trading interface. God, that's not right. That feels so wrong. I have to find the right books. Oh, sorry, did I just have to max out all of your trades for you to restock her? Okay, I was getting concerned because it was telling me to do other trades to unlock the Prot 4 trade, which I'd been locked out of because I bought too many. But then I did a bunch of other trades and it was still locked, but I guess I just had to do every other trade in order for it to get unlocked. Okay. 32 levels for this last helmet enchant. Kind of rubbing up against the limit there, which is, I believe, 39. If it goes to 40 or above, then it's too expensive, but I did manage. I did have to combine, I think it's blast protection, since I only have a blast protection 3 guy here. So the cost was made a little bit higher because of that, but I still managed to get it all together without any issues. Didn't ever get too expensive, but now I have an actual armor set, and this is one that I do intend to wear, because my current stuff is just, you know, whatever I had that I just threw together to make me more durable in the end. But now I have some stuff that's gonna last me, some stuff that has mending on it, unbreaking, and then all types of different protection, which should make me a lot harder to take down. The dragon fireball is gone. Okay. I guess I can put the thing here then, since this podium isn't being used anymore. I was there for a bit at least. But now it shall become... Wait, how does this... Wait, how does this work? Do I have to... How does this work? Ah! Fire charge or flaming arrow. Okay. I can make fire charges. I might already have some. Yes. A couple left over from, ironically, the dragon fireball. I do think I want to make some more, though. Okay, so now if I do that... Aha! Lit waterlogged campfire. And it still hurts. Doesn't hurt me very much because of the fire protection, but yeah, that's a thing. Wow. I'm gonna put some of those in the nether. Huh. That fella ain't waterlogged. I guess because they're not source blocks at the bottom? Would it work if I did it there? Yes. Okay. So I can do it like that. And then have the smoke as a nice accent to the parts going out. would have had it further down, but the bottom layer are not source blocks, so they can't be waterlogged because of how I filled this pool in. And it's not like I can really alter the way that the water is in this version, because I can't really place water here in this version. But I guess having them higher up does make them more visible. So, yeah, I think that makes a nice addition. Nice brief little snapshot. Before I have to move on to the next one, which is going to require me to go out and find guys. It's not just the dragon fireball that's gone. I was about to move on to the next snapshot, but I thought it's probably a good idea to check and make sure that it wasn't just the dragon fireball that's gone, but I guess everything that's loaded was gone. I don't know if that's like a snapshot specific bug. I I will be loading a backup, that's needless to say, because I ain't losing all of these guys. Maybe I'll just like minimize my render distance, and then if it's gonna cause problems to have the campfire on this bridge because it's gonna be too close to load other entities, then despawn them, then I guess the campfire doesn't get to be on this bridge, because that's gonna place it too close to other entities that I'm gonna have to load them in and then they're gonna vanish. I might have to do a little more looking into what's up with that. Okay, I loaded my backup in the previous snapshot and moved myself over to the nether and also minimized my render distance. So I'm gonna just do all of this in the nether, and then when I'm done, I'm not gonna set it up on the walkway, I'm just gonna leave these in here, and then I'm gonna move on to the next snapshot, and I'm hoping that by the next snapshot, whatever has caused all of the things in the overworld to despawn will have been patched out, and I can go back there and they'll still be there. So I'm gonna try that again. Alright, let's see. What? It was there for a second? Is the same also true for my villagers? Are they gone as well? No. The villagers remain, but the fireballs cease to be. Well, as long as the villagers are still here, I can live with that. I ain't losing these guys. This is one of the things that I'm not gonna settle for losing, is my villager setup. The dragon fireball, that's whatever. Just a showpiece, like most of the things here. I can live without it. Something else can take its place. But in this snapshot, I do need to go out and find more villagers, because I'm yet to set up a breeder of my own, and I'm not going to do so quite yet, unless, you know, I deem it absolutely necessary. I think to begin with, I'm going to go out and look for villagers to try and get. There's a specific trait that I want to get in this snapshot, which I think is going to be a humongous pain, but you know, I guess we'll find out, see how long it takes. Okay, this honestly didn't take nearly as long as I expected it to. So I've gotten a suspicious stew trade from this farmer lad here. He's got 2 of them. The first one, I believe, is blindness, but the second one is 8 seconds of saturation, which is, to my knowledge, the best food source that is renewable. Since I have this guy now, he's always going to have that saturation stew trait that lasts 8 seconds. As long as I keep him alive here, he's going to be able to give me these suspicious stew. Usually saturation is the effect that you get from the suspicious stew, the saturation effect, is supposed to last like 0.2 seconds or something like that. It's supposed to be like a really low, like barely conceivable number. Like, saturation doesn't even have an icon on the status effect thing because you're not supposed to have it long enough to be able to see it. At least not in this version, but because of something unintentional, suspicious stew traits from these villages in this snapshot can sell suspicious stew that gives you saturation. And so, along with some methods of overstacking these later on, this is going to become my primary food source in the future, hopefully. Okay, I'm in a 1.15 snapshot. This is the snapshot before the introduction of nether drying sponges. So I've got some wet sponges that I'm just putting around each of the different ways, the directions from the nether hub. And I'm thinking I'll probably put like a little podium pedestal thing around these, or integrate them into some kind of pillar or something. I'm feeling like since I have nether roof access, these tunnels might just end up becoming like gradual stairways that go up to the bedrock, since I already have a lot of portals that are up there utilizing it anyway, and it's a lot easier to just fly up there. So I think in the final design of this area, these aren't really gonna be tunnels, so to speak, more so just, ways to take you out in the direction where the things are gonna be up top. But yeah, that's literally all I need to do in 1.15. Now I'm moving up to the nether update. Okay, so before moving on to the next thing, I just want to show off how powerful these stews are. So I've allowed myself to practically starve, and yeah, from almost starving to death to full hunger, full health. It's it's a little bit busted, but that's what I'm here for. It's good stew. It's not gone. It's not gone? It's like stuck between, like, phasing in and out of existence. My ball is stuck between realities. That's so strange. I thought it was just gone. I just noticed this just now, that it keeps, like, flickering in and out. Like, even with the hitbox on, the hitbox is kind of coming and going with it. I guess it's technically still there. I was about to set up the next thing to put in the spot where it was, but if it's, not really gone, then I guess it retains its place. Gotta go get a bit more glowstone now, though. Welcome back, Dragon Fireball, I guess. I think this one might be a bit tough to show the setup for, but the objective here is to get soul fire on this netherrack block, which isn't usually possible, because for a couple of snapshots after the soul fire was added, it was able to be spread through lava over soul soil onto things where it wouldn't normally be able to. The example that I saw of this used a non-full block. I think it was like one of the like warped fungus or something like that. But I don't know. I'm under the assumption that this might work, so I'm probably just gonna chill around here for a bit, keep an eye on this, and see if it does anything. I have this on fire, but I don't know if it spreads at all. It doesn't seem like it did, but then another one started. Yeah, I'm gonna do some testing. Like, I've accelerated the tick rate a bunch. it spread to other flammable stuff? Doesn't seem like it spreads like at all. Does it spread to other signs? No. What if it doesn't spread, then how am I supposed to get it onto netherrack? I wonder if it'll remain there indefinitely because there's netherrack below it. And it's like inheriting the quality of the netherrack. So like, I guess even if I get rid of this lava, can I further increase the tick speed? 10,000. It does seem to be burning forever. Let me see if a future snapshot breaks this. Okay, this is a slightly later 1.16 snapshot. It does still seem to burn. The fire is remaining. I guess I'll take this up to most recent release, see if it still works. It does seem to persist. Okay. I think I found my workaround. The original goal was to just get it on netherrack, but you know, this somehow feels even more cursed and broken, so I'm okay setting it up like this. It sure is taking its time. Ah! There we go. Okay. That should be good. Well, there you have it. That's, unusual. It's a compromise, I guess. It isn't what I originally wanted, but, you know, it's still not regular, so I'm happy to move on with that. Wonderful. The ball is back to being a permanent feature, it seems. I just loaded up the next snapshot, and he's so back. So what I'm doing in this snapshot is much in the same vein, except just a lot simpler. This is the first snapshot where soul sand was able to be lit on fire, and in this snapshot, it's just normal fire, which you can't get in future versions. Though I am going to quickly pause and move on, since I think in this snapshot, the fire does not persist like it does in future versions. So I'm gonna get out of here and move on before that has a chance to go out. Alright, I've found what I believe is a treasure bastion. This is the one that I need, that has a barrier block, I believe, at the bottom of one of those pools. I have no idea which one it's in, so I'm gonna have to go there and dredge out all the lava to be able to check, but gotta do what I gotta do, I guess. Oh. I think we have a winner. Yep. That certainly seems like a nothing block. That there is a barrier block, which is not supposed to exist normally in survival mode. This is just something that was left in the structure files for this piece of this bastion remnant on this snapshot only. They patched it out in the next snapshot to be released. But right now, this is here. I don't exactly know how I'm gonna be able to like showcase this, because you can't really see it beyond the fact that the lava doesn't flow into it and the black outline that it has. I mean, you can tell that there's something there because I can stand on it. It has like a hitbox. I can't break it or anything. I'm pretty sure it's unbreakable in survival. But yeah, barrier block. I guess now is the time to see whether or not that soul sand fire is gonna stick around, because I need to add something else to the catwalk. It is gone. Okay. I don't know if it does persist then. No worries there. I still got the weirder fire somehow. Okay, so you see how typically these snowy grass blocks will like have their texture changed from the regular grass block when they have a snow layer on top of them, and then when you get rid of the snow layer, it just turns back into a regular grass block. I believe that what I can do is, yeah, if you replace a snow layer with a block that has a snowy tag, like if you look on the right hand side of the F3 screen where it says targeted block, grass block, snowy, true. I guess it's kind of cut off in the recording, but it is a snowy grass block with no snow, so you get to see the rare top texture, which is very clearly not meant to be seen. So I'm gonna take one of these and I'm gonna bung it onto the display area. There we go. And I have had a very rare instance of forethought where I realized that this is in a Tiger Hills, which I believe maybe can naturally snow, and so if I were to leave this exposed, it would probably accrue a snow layer just on its own up there, and then it would no longer be special. So I've actually given it a roof, or a little glass covering, so that it doesn't get snowed on, so that you can continue to see the weird top layer there. Anyway, I think now I move on to 117. Yeah, I'll do one thing from 117. And to finish things off, we're gonna do something similar to what I did with the campfire. That didn't work. Did it go over? Let me try to do this with the thing facing downwards. How about like that? That don't work. Then how does this work? My only other guess in what's different from my setup versus the other clip is the fact that the candle was submerged under a full water block rather than, you know, just the single source, which has a bit exposed at the top. Would help if I actually... Still does not seem to work. I am on the right snapshot, right? From 20W45A to 21W13A, it is possible to light up waterlogged candles using fire charges inside of dispensers, is what it says. Well, I don't know what's up with that. And there's another way that I can get waterlogged lit candles in a future version, so you know what, I'm not gonna concern myself with this for now. I can come back to this another time. For now, I'm just gonna leave it unlit as is. I would say it pains me to leave off on something that didn't work, but you know, it's something so minor and it's something that I can do again in a future version using a different method, so I achieved some things today. I don't remember what all of it was. This is like a 50-minute long video that has been happening over the course of like a week. So yeah, I'm gonna prove I think I got enough things left on my list to maybe fill out one more episode before I get up to the most recent version. And I'm starting off with something a bit quirky next time. So yeah, bye.